You might feel that urge to click away, because deep down, you already know what's coming. It's not loud, not dramatic. It's the kind of truth that doesn't shout. It whispers right into the places you've been trying to ignore. Every man who's ever been overlooked, who gave his full heart and got treated like an afterthought, knows this moment. That cold, silent punch to the soul when you realize, no matter how loyal you were, how present, how patient, how many nights you stayed up waiting for her to see your worth, she never truly did. But here's where it flips, not with begging, not with proving anything, and not with some childish revenge fantasy. It flips when you become the one she can't touch anymore, the one she reaches for, and her hand goes straight through air. This isn't about hurting her. This is about power, not noise, not ego, but stoic, silent, undeniable power. The kind that makes her regret not what she did, but what she lost. Today, you'll see exactly what pierces her the most. Not words, not revenge, but your absence, your indifference, your transformation. Now lean in, because every point you're about to see is crucial. Ignore even one, and you remain forgettable. But absorb them all, and you won't be the man she once took for granted. You'll be the one she can never reach again. Let's begin. Point number 1. When you go silent, she starts to hear everything. Here's a truth most men never hear loud enough. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment she starts to feel your absence like a blade under her skin. See, the woman who never valued you will never admit she twisted the truth. She won't apologize for how she gaslit you, drained you, or made you feel small. Because as long as you keep talking, as long as you keep defending, justifying, or explaining, she still feels in control. But the second you go still, that silence, it hits her harder than any speech ever could. No raised voice, no emotional plea. Just that calm, quiet presence that says, I'm done trying to convince someone who never listened. You used to pour your heart out, hoping she'd understand. Now you just look at her and say nothing, because now you're not fighting for her understanding. You're watching her patterns, not reacting to them. And that shatters her illusion. Because the moment she realizes she can't bait you anymore, that her drama echoes in silence instead of sparking a fire, she starts to feel something she never expected. Regret. Regret that she misread your kindness as weakness. Regret that she confused your passion for desperation. Regret that she thought you'd always be there, explaining yourself, forever. But now, you've gone quiet not just with your mouth, but with your soul. You're not proving anything anymore. You're just gone. And what hurts her the most is knowing she talked over a man who will never speak to her the same again. Point number 2. When you choose peace, her chaos destroys itself. You used to answer every message, show up when she called, drop everything to prove your love, even when it meant setting yourself on fire to keep her warm. You thought that being available made you worthy, that sacrificing your peace was what love looked like. But now you don't flinch at her mood swings. You don't chase her validation. You don't jump at every emotional storm she throws. Because something inside you changed. You stopped mistaking chaos for connection. You stopped seeing conflict as proof of love. Now you speak less, but every word feels like a blade. She says something disrespectful. You don't argue. You don't raise your voice. You just leave it hanging in the air like smoke she can't swallow. And suddenly, she feels it. That shift. That deep, unnerving silence where your reaction used to be. Because when you choose peace, she's forced to face the war she kept starting. When you stop trying to calm her storms, she's left standing in her own lightning. And that realization cuts her open. Not because you're trying to hurt her, but because she knows the man she used to control with chaos has mastered the one thing she fears the most: stillness. She wanted drama. You gave her distance. She wanted tension. You gave her time. And now, she's spiraling in a storm you no longer dance inside, because the man who chooses peace is no longer available to be broken. That's what she never expected, that the loudest pain she'd ever feel would come from the silence of the one who used to fight for her. Point number 3. When you stop competing, she starts crumbling. She used to love the way you chased. You were the one always reaching out, texting first, making plans, liking her photos before anyone else. You made her feel like the prize, like her time was a throne you had to earn. And for a while, you accepted that. You fed the illusion. You clung to the hope that maybe, just maybe if you did enough, she'd finally give you the attention you gave so freely. But then, something inside you snapped. The moment came when you stopped texting first. You stopped noticing her stories. You didn't check if she was online, because suddenly her time didn't feel like a reward. It felt like a test you were done failing. And when that happened, you became her silence, her unanswered questions, her echo chamber of what changed. Because here's the truth most men never realize. The second you stop competing for a woman's time, she's forced to sit with the weight of your absence, and that weight is heavier than any attention you ever gave. Now, she scrolls through her feed, wondering why your name isn't there. She posts something subtle, hoping you'll notice. But you don't, because you've moved. Not just on, but up. She doesn't say it out loud, but the questions scream in her head. Why isn't he chasing anymore? Who's he talking to now? Did I lose him without even knowing it? And yes, she did. Not because you wanted revenge, but because you finally realized your energy is not something to audition for her schedule. You're no longer trying to be chosen. You've chosen yourself. And now, she's left competing with the ghost of your attention in a game she thought she'd always win. But the truth? She's already lost, because the man who stops competing is the man she can no longer reach. Point number 4. When you stop reacting to her mixed signals. She used to feed you confusion like candy, hot one moment, cold the next, a compliment here, then silence, a late-night text, then nothing for days. You felt it in your gut, didn't you? That exhausting loop of second-guessing, wondering if she was in or out, real or fake, interested or just bored. And for a while, you played along. You double-texted. You tried to understand her mood. You read between the lines of every emoji, trying to decode her silence like it held some sacred answer. But here's what she never expected. The day you stopped reacting. You stopped chasing the breadcrumbs. You stopped asking, what's wrong? You stopped wondering if you did something to deserve the cold shoulder. Instead, you smiled, you leaned back, and you let her confusion echo in your absence. Why does that cut so deep? Because women like her don't crave clarity. They crave control. They want to see your emotions dance for their approval. And when that dance ends, the stage goes silent, and that silence haunts them. She checks her phone, no reply. She posts a story, no view from you. She tosses out bait, no bite. And now, for the first time, she's the one wondering. Because a man who doesn't react is a man she can't predict, and unpredictability is power. You've flipped the dynamic. She no longer holds the leash because you cut the rope and walked. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And now she's stuck in the loop she built for you, spinning inside the silence you left behind. So if you're ever unsure of what hurts her most, it's this: when you go quiet and stay calm, when you see the game and stop playing, when your peace becomes louder than her chaos ever was. That's not ghosting, that's evolution. And in that stillness, she hears everything you're no longer saying. Point number 5. When you start smiling without her. There was a time when she was the center of your gravity. Your joy orbited around her texts, her attention, her approval. She'd disappear for hours, and your chest would tighten. She'd drop a hey, and your world would light up. Your smile? It was tied to her presence. But now something's different. You're smiling, and she's not the reason anymore. She sees it. That glow on your face that doesn't need her name. That calm in your voice when you speak to others. That laugh you share in a photo, standing with your crew, your focus somewhere far beyond her. She taps your story, and there you are, alive. Not bitter, not broken, but better. And that, right there, that's what shatters her. Because she always thought you'd orbit forever. She thought you'd keep showing up, keep reaching out, keep proving she mattered. But now she watches from the sidelines. And that smile, that unbothered peace on your face, it's louder than any word she ever ignored. It tells her, you didn't need her to be happy. You just needed to remember who you are. Understand this. Nothing wounds the ego of a woman who played games more than seeing the man she once controlled, thriving, free, and unavailable. Because your joy now isn't performative. It's not bait. It's not a strategy. It's real. And that reality rewrites her memory of the past. It forces her to ask, was I ever special, or was he just patient? Here's the truth. Your smile without her is a mirror she can't look away from, because it reflects the man she only began to want, once he no longer looked in her direction. And by the time she realizes that smile is real, it's already too late. You've moved forward. You've moved higher. You've moved on. Sign number 6. When you stop competing for her time. At first, you were always the one chasing, texting first, planning the dates, keeping the rhythm alive. You were the one checking her stories, liking her photos, being the steady presence she could rely on, or take for granted. And that's exactly what she did. She made you feel like her time was a privilege, a reward for good behavior. She kept you in orbit, never too close, never too far, just enough to make you chase. But then something broke. Inside you. You stopped showing up first. You stopped reacting. You stopped trying to win her attention like a dog waiting for a treat. And that silence, it echoed, louder than anything you ever said. Suddenly, she starts checking your stories, wondering who has your time now. She reads your old texts again, trying to find the version of you that begged for crumbs. But that man is gone. Now you move differently. Now you don't chase, you select. You don't wait, you decide. You don't ask, you vanish. And that absence, it burns. Because here's the truth no one tells her. A man who stops competing for her time doesn't want it anymore. And once he no longer wants it, her entire game collapses. She built her worth on how much you'd pursue her. But now, your silence forces her to question her own value. And the worst part for her isn't your absence. It's the fact that someone else now holds your time. Someone who doesn't have to beg for your attention. Someone who's receiving what she took for granted. So now she watches, and wonder, and spirals. Because the one man she thought she could control just slipped through her fingers without a word, without a warning, without a fight. And in that quiet exit, you became unforgettable. Sign number 7. When you stop reacting to her mixed signals. She used to control the tempo, a warm message one day, a cold silence the next. Flirting, then vanishing, sweet words, then emotional withdrawal. And you played right into it, wondering what she meant, rereading every line, texting again to clarify, double-guessing your worth, while she sat comfortably in the confusion she engineered. But then, something shifted. You didn't chase after the silence. You didn't reply to the half-hearted texts. You didn't flinch when she posted a story clearly meant to provoke a reaction. You saw the game and refused to play. You didn't ask, "Is everything okay?" You didn't wonder, "Did I do something wrong?" You just stopped reacting, and that's the moment she panicked. Because her power didn't come from love, it came from control. Control over your emotions, control over your energy, control over your mind. But now you're unreadable, you're still, you're centered, and your lack of reaction is louder than any angry outburst ever could be. She starts to question, why isn't he chasing? Is he over me? Did someone else take my place? And in that spiral, she faces the one thing she never expected: irrelevance. You see, when you stop reacting to her chaos, you expose the emptiness behind her manipulation. She wanted to feel powerful, but now, in your calm, she feels powerless. And the worst part? You didn't punish her. You didn't block her. You didn't insult her. You simply removed the fuel. No attention, no explanation, no emotion, just quiet certainty that you will never again chase confusion, never again trade your peace for her games. That's when she breaks, because for the first time she realizes you're not coming back. Sign number 8, when you start smiling without her. She used to be the reason you woke up with hope, the reason you checked your phone, the reason your day could be made or destroyed. And she knew it. That's why she gave you just enough, a breadcrumb of affection, a flash of attention, then pulled away, over and over. You waited for her calls, planned your day around her replies, sent her memes hoping for a laugh, watched your own joy, become dependent on her presence. But then, you woke up, and when you did, your smile no longer needed her permission. You went out. You reconnected with your mission. You posted that photo, not for her, but because you felt powerful in it. Your laugh became real. Your voice carried weight. Your eyes no longer searched for her. And when she saw that, it shattered her illusion. Because the man she thought she owned, the man she thought was orbiting her, was suddenly centered in his own world. Now your joy doesn't include her. Your silence isn't angry, it's focused. And that one story you post, of you laughing, of you alive, of you thriving, that's what wrecks her most. She can't process it. She thought you'd stay emotionally hooked, thought she'd always be the reason behind your fire. But now you've lit that fire from within, and she's not even near the flame. She checks your page. She replays your smile. She tells herself stories just to feel close again. But you're gone. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. She lost access to your soul. And no woman ever forgets the man who learned how to smile without her name in his mind. Sign number 9, when she no longer lives rent-free in your mind. She used to be everywhere, in your thoughts when you woke up, in your mind when you tried to focus, in every what if, every silent hope that maybe she'd finally see you. She didn't need to text, she didn't need to call. She had real estate in your brain, free of charge, and she knew it. That's why she felt so powerful. She didn't need to try, she didn't need to change, because in her mind, you'd never stop thinking about her. But then something shifted. You stopped fantasizing, stopped imagining what could have been, stopped writing her name in the chapters of your future. Now when her name pops up in your head, it's quiet. There's no spark, no longing, just space, clear, focused, unbothered space. You've reprogrammed your mind, not through hate, not through bitterness, but through realization. You realized she was never the answer. She was the distraction. And now, you've taken the key back, the key to your inner world. She no longer lives in your mind, not even in the shadows. And the irony? That's the moment she feels it. When she senses her grip is gone. When she posts and doesn't get a view. When she reaches out and your reply is calm, detached, or doesn't come at all. She knows. She knows she's been evicted from the one place she thought she'd live in forever, your attention. And nothing hurts a woman more than knowing the man she once ignored now moves through life without needing her image to fuel him. That's the ultimate power, and once you taste it, you never go back. She didn't flinch when you gave her everything, but the second you pulled away, she felt it. Not because you yelled, not because you begged, but because you stopped. No texts, no chase, just peace. That's when it hit her. You weren't mad. You were done. Subscribe to the Stoic Architect, because this isn't just content, it's clarity. And once you see the truth, you don't go back.